Hi folks, how's it going? So another weekly update here, Sunday the 5th of June. So I think it's important now to just maybe take stock of where we're at in the process here. So all of the negotiation work has been going on since the enhanced scheme was announced back in November last year. Basically concluded on Thursday there. The last meeting between myself, Martina, Michael Carr, John O'Connor, and Kevin Dillon, the last formal meetings anyway, because there's nothing more to discuss. That negotiation has seen them suggest things that we just told them would never work. They've asked for suggestions which we've tried to do in line with what we have in our crib sheet. Um, we have done various bits and pieces around suggestions that were actually zero cost to the state that they still seem to struggle with time. So I can't sit here and say I'm confident that we're going to get everything we're asking for. All I do know is they're absolutely clear on what the ask is, and they know it's with them now to go deliver. So really, that's it. From that point of view, um, what happens here now? So we've got basically 8 days left before from Monday, before you arrive on the 7th of June. That 7th of June is a pre-published cabinet meeting that they'll see the memo and the bill, and then they will look and see is there anything that they want to change on it over the course of that week, and it should be the full 21st of then publish of the bill. Okay, at that point they'll probably ask to waiver the PLS, and we have asked that that does absolutely not happen because we feel it's critical based on our experiences to date. I believe they will still look to bypass that, and they'll ask the Joint Housing Committee for that waiver. We've been talking to them and we've written to them, so they know our position very firmly on. Time will tell what happens. Okay. But what I would say is there are not enough of people signing that petition. Just being straight about it. We have thousands of people watching these videos every week. We have over 20,000 on the 100% redress page, around the same numbers, maybe a wee bit less, on the MAG page. Where are you guys? We need you to go do that, because when government go and watch all of this, which they do, they'll look to see what level of interest is there for PLS, pre-legislative scrutiny, and this will, I've no doubt, form part of that decision-making process for them. Please do that. It's as important at this point in time as what it was walking on Dublin. This is what they need to see. This is their version of it this time round, so please do that. It only takes a minute, and the link will be attached at the end of the video. Please do that. So, take stock then where we are at this point in time now. So we have done all the things we've been asked to do. We have fed into the negotiation process. But let's look at the government and let's critique the government for a second here now. And this is the stage we're now at. We're past talking about what it is we're looking for. That's all done. And they know that, and they know what it is we're asking for. So now let's look at government themselves. We had the 90-10 scheme, which failed. It was a 60-40 by the time the department is finished with it. And we also have to watch that doesn't happen again when it comes to the regulations. It'll be devised largely by them, rubber stamped by the minister after the 21st of June. That'll be another couple of 3 months where all that stuff's taking place. So there's still a job to do there. But if you think about what government have done, you've got two sides of government. One is the Fine Gael, and the other is Fianna Fáil. Yes, you've got the Greens in there, but not big enough in numbers to be counted as within that big two. So with that in mind, you've got Fine Gael under Leo and Owen Murphy that delivered that 90-10 scheme which I said had failed outright. And then we had the enhanced scheme, which we'll see the conclusion of that process now within the next 2 weeks. And that's under the Fianna Fáil wing of Micheál Martin and Dara O'Brien. So there is no other wing. That's it. So both of them will have tried, and if this is wrong in a fortnight's time, both of them will have failed. That leaves us that there is no other wing of this government to look at this again. They're gone. They have to be, because we know at that point in time that that regime that we have in that coalition will not deliver anything more than what they have offered to deliver this time round. This is their second bite at it. This is their chance to learn from the first time round. They know what the asks are. They either do or they don't. It's as black and white as that. Okay? So, to our mind and our firm position will be the government goes in order for us to get what we need. And then we have to turn our attention on that. That becomes the focus of our campaign then. And this is where we're delighted to have Paddy Differ back again. Um, we know what Paddy brings to the party. Like I said before, men's time, nobody does Paddy like Paddy. He'll get out of people what nobody else will. He will galvanise people. He will bring people not just in Donegal together, but the other affected counties together. And we now know that not just the 6 down the western seaboard, but the other 6 that we have from Midlands over as far as Dublin and the eastern seaboard, we're seeing now also indications. So there are many counties that can now be galvanised together here, all at different stages in the process in terms of severity, but all staring down the same barrel as we are in Donegal. We've just been at the leading edge of that curve in terms of how bad things can get. So that's where we're now at. We'll have no more faith in this government, end of, if they don't deliver right this time. Has to be right this time. So we will focus as part of that on the 13 out of the 15 TDs that spoke up prior to the enhanced scheme being announced and said that they were all on for 100% redress. They supported 100% redress. And when you're saying that, you're basically saying you're going to put your people before your party, which is the right thing to do. It's the honourable thing to do. Okay? Now, we were asked then to give it a chance because they're saying they believed the government would do the right thing. We will know in the next 2 weeks if government did the right thing. But we'll be going back to these 13 people and we'll be saying very clearly to them, if that didn't happen, and it's a worst case scenario where government do not do the right thing, then what are you now going to do? Are you going to put your people before your party like you said you were going to do and be a hero? Or are you going to be a traitor to what you said you were going to do and turn your back on them? All right? And then you've got to live in your county, and you may see that the party thing being the short-term gain so as you're not falling out of favour with the bigwigs in the party. But trust me, that'll be short-term, because at the end of the day, you're going to face your electorate and you'll have basically turned your back on them. You turned your back on what you said you were going to do. So we will be really following this very, very closely now over the next week, 10 days, and see where you're at. It can be avoided completely. It can be avoided completely if you can convince your leaders to do the right thing by your constituents in your county and the other affected counties. It's within their gift to give if they decide to do it. And if they do it, then you've got the best of both worlds, people and party. If they don't, you have a hard call to make, and we'll be chasing you down hard on that one, because it's only right that you're accountable for what you said you were going to do versus what you ended up doing. And we'll make sure that's called out, and there'll be nobody that'll not know about it. So with that in mind, we did see you on notice on the 8th of October at that meeting down there. It's one thing saying this was wrong in this country. We get away with saying things and not following through. So I would suggest that this will be a moment of truth for each of you, and we'll push hard on it. But where this has to come down to now, it's time to deliver. This is deliver phase. No talk. This is deliver phase. And with Paddy on board, I am pretty convinced that we have now got an opportunity as well to hold others accountable. Sinn Féin made the point very clear, and Mary Lou McDonald made it clear in Dublin, that it was going to be a case of when they'd be in power, it would be 100% redress, no less, for all people, full stop. I'll never forget that line. It was so powerful. But I'll make sure, and we will make sure, that Sinn Féin are not allowed to forget it either. So they're going to have to step up to the mark, and they're going to have to work here now and see how do we orchestrate the next change of government as soon as possible, because there'll have been no faith that this government is ever going to do the right thing. And this is not about party politics. We couldn't give a damn about that. What we need is our homes fixed, and what we need is a fair deal, and that's what we'll be looking for. And at the end of the day, if the government don't do it, we'll have to give the others a chance. We can't go back to the same well, pull out the same empty bucket, and say, well, maybe next time. It's just not going to work. So that's why it's critically important this time, folks. So it's in the deliver stage. It's either right this time or out for this government. Full stop.